Now we will continue with our application. The next step that we want to do is to create a service package. Let's create new package. We have converter. Now we will create service. And we will create category service first. It will be interface, and let's create some functions. First one will be category DTO, add category, and category DTO will be parameter. And also the next method will be get category by ID, and we will have integer category ID as parameter. The next one will be category DTO update category, and here we will need two parameters. First one will be integer category ID, and we also need category DTO. The next one will be void delete category, and we will also have category ID as a parameter. And the last one will be a list. And where is Java util? A list of category DTO, a list all. Okay, here is Java util list. And now we need to implement these methods, and product service we will create later. Let's focus on category service. Let's create new package inside the service, and let's create implementation package, and inside this package let's create a class category service implementation class. That's great. And this class needs service annotation and also transactional, but be aware, here we will use Spring Framework transaction annotation. And we need to implement interface category service. And also we need to implement all the methods that we have created there. Let's add an implemented method. And let's start with implementation. First thing that we will need, private category repository, and we will also call it category repository. and it will be auto-wired. And we will also need a temp converter because we want to convert from entity to DTO and vice versa. And we will also require auto-wired annotation. And let's start implementing the methods. Let's first one to add category. Of course, we cannot save a category DTO, we will need entity. And let's create category entity. We will call it category entity equals to temp converter. Let's call category DTO to entity and we will convert this category. And now we can save this category entity. Let's create new category entity and it will be stored category equals to category repository save. We will save this category entity. But we cannot return this stored category because it's category entity and we need to return category DTO. That means now we will need to create category DTO, return value, and now also we will use temp converter. We will convert entity to DTO and we will use this stored category. And now we will just return value. And that will be all for this function. Now let's implement another method. We also need to return category DTO here. And let's create category DTO, return value. We will initialize it with null. And now we need to check if there is category with this ID in the database. Optional category entity, it's category optional equals to category repository find by ID, category ID. Great. And let's check if this category optional is present. If it is present, let's redefine return value will be equals to temp converter category entity to DTO and we will take the value of category optional dot get. And I think that will be fine. And we just, instead of null, we will return value, which is great. Now let's implement another function, update category. Now let's start. First, that will be category DTO will be, we need to return it, and let's create one return value and we will initialize it with null. And also we need optional of category entity. And now what we will do if this category is present. First, let's create category entity. We will convert this parameter category, which is category DTO, we will convert it to entity. And we will set ID to this category entity. Which will be category ID. And now we will create another category entity, which will be updated category equals to category repository save and flush, and we will use category entity. And now let's redefine return value. We will convert this updated category, which is category entity, we will convert it to DTO. And we just need to return value. That will be okay. And let's implement delete category. We will just use for now category repository delete by ID category ID, and we will just type category repository flush. That will be all for this function for now. And the last function, we need to list all categories, and it needs to be category DTO. List of category DTO. We need to return that, and let's create a list of category DTO. We will call it return value equals to new array list, and also we need a list of category entity, all categories. We need to retry them from the database. We will use also repository for that. List of category entity, all categories equals to category repository find all. We will retrieve all categories from the database. And in case if all categories is not empty, let's iterate over this list all categories for each, and we will call it category entity. Category entity in these all categories. And now we will create category DTO equals, we will use a temp converter to convert this entity to DTO. And we have created our category DTO, and it will be done, for example, if we have for all categories that are inside this array list. And after we have created category DTO, we will add it to return value array list. Return value, we will add category DTO. And the only thing that we need to do is, instead of null, we will return value. And I think that we have implemented all the methods that we have created in the category service interface. Let's do Ctrl+Shift+F, let's save, and that will be all for this tutorial.